In the end, is it what you really want to be? Is just treated as another wrestler?
I feel like just because I'm a girl wrestler, like I feel like people should treat me the same way. Like the fact that I'm doing the same sport as them, that I'm doing the same things as them. Like I don't feel like there should be much difference there. So.
Cassie, we haven't had a chance to ask you what your reaction was when Joel defaulted. What was your reaction?
Well, like he has the right to make his own choice, and like he made his choice. It's not like he did what he didn't want to do. So.
Did you know that was going to happen, or were you surprised?
I knew it was an option, but like I knew he could have, and when he did it, I wasn't very surprised because I don't know.
Was party like that? Yeah, moving on.
If I can speak on it, she had no idea up until it actually happened. She was surprised when the referee told her she didn't put her leg bands on. In an earlier meet at in Cedar Rapids, he had chose not to wrestle her as well. We didn't know if it was going to carry through the state tournament or not. So she was surprised. The coaching staff and the wrestlers and the families did a very good job of keeping it from her, so she prepared as if she had to wrestle, rather than go out there and think she was going to get a forfeit. So she was prepared to wrestle, not knowing that was going to happen.
So what was your reaction as a father?
To all of this, the whole thing?
I guess to Joel defaulting. As a father, what was your reaction?
I guess as a father, it didn't bother me at all. I had a friend who's a friend of the Northrup family, and he told me very early on it was a possibility, so it didn't surprise me at all, and I understand the reason they made the decision. It's an unfortunate thing that it became such a news story, that it was such a personal and family decision that he made to default to her. I respect their decision. I don't second guess any of their decision. It's a personal decision that they had to do, and I understand.
So I know you respect his decision based on faith, but do you, in your faith, could you see a problem with it?
Well, I don't really I feel like it's a sport. Like, do what your decision is. Like, if I was in his position, I would have gone out and wrestled, but he made the decision. So.
I don't.
How about you?
I think if she was in the religion, had the same beliefs he did, she would have made the same decisions.
Yeah.
She's not second guessing his decision not to wrestle by any means. I just think that the church that we go to, I don't think it would frown upon wrestling a girl, but that's their belief, and I praise them for sticking to it. I mean, this is the biggest stage in wrestling in the nation, I would say, and they stuck to their beliefs when it probably tested it the most, and that was yesterday.
Have you heard less compelling reasons not to wrestle her before?
Well, we had one kid forfeit just because he didn't want to get beat, but that's it.
How'd that feel?
Well, it was because I wrestled the kid from his club, and I beat the kid from his club, so he was like, well, he beats me at practice, so I don't want to go out and get beat by her when I know she's going to beat me. So
It had nothing to do with being a female wrestler. It was just he didn't want to wrestle her because he didn't want to get beat.
Didn't want to get beat.
Is there any, sense of frustration that the fact that Joel's decision turned what was sort of a big deal into this super huge deal where you're being surrounded by all of us?
No, because most of us knew it was a possibility it was going to happen, and the whole team knew it was going to happen before I did. So
The one frustration I have is the fact, and no offense to the present company, is the fact that it made a personal decision based on their religious beliefs into a media frenzy. That's something that I would hope that they could have made that decision in their home or in their hotel room rather than it being plastered, to be honest with you, across the nation on just about every news source you can find. That, again, that was an extremely personal decision, and it was probably a hard pill for him to swallow, and it got made into a zoo, a news zoo, and that's unfortunate. I don't think it diminishes her accomplishments. It just adds another facet to it.
In Joel's statement, he said it's a combative sport, it's a violent sport, but you had already accepted that. I mean, you've been wrestling since the second grade in the Go Hawk Kids Club since the third grade. You've already accepted that as part of being out for wrestling.
And that's not the point of wrestling, but if you're going to go out for wrestling, you're going to have to know that's going to come. So.
She's had her share of bloody noses, bloody lips, bumps and bruises, and she knows it's going to come. And I would venture to guess that she may never ever run into that situation again, especially at the state tournament. And if she does, we'll deal with it then. It just happens. It happens.
It's almost like you were being treated like a flower when you're not at all a flower.
Yeah.
I mean, do you feel like you're a flower, like you need to be protected?
No, I feel like, well, like you can't really like say it's my choice because it was all his decision. Like I had nothing to do really like with his choice. Like I couldn't be like, why did you make that choice? Like,
I think the Northrups would have made that decision. Be it any girl, I think I know what you're trying to ask, and I don't think she didn't ask for the forfeit. If that's what you're asking, there, she's not asking for anybody to look out for herself. When it comes to wrestling, she knows it's a. I'm going to walk on the mat with my best, and you're going to walk on your mat with your best, and at the end of the match, we'll see how it is. She's not asking for any special treatment. We've never asked for any special rules for her.
Right.
She's got to go by the same rules that the boys do, and we're not asking. She's not asking for any protection or any special circumstance for anybody. I'm sure she would have rather won a match, meaning not won by default. It's still the first girl to win a match in state history. However, it will probably have an asterisk saying it's a default rather than an actual victory. She would have rather, I know she would have rather wrestled him. There's no doubt in my mind that she would have rather gone out there and locked horns with him and had a match. But in my mind, she went on to the second round with a 1-0 record, didn't ask for it, and she would rather have wrestled.
Could you have beat him?
I've never really like seen him wrestle before, so I don't really know what he does. But it would have been a close match, so.
He's not saying, I would have heard, but you don't think that's what he's saying?
I don't know. He's not. He's saying that I think, with their beliefs, he just doesn't think that you should be anywhere physical with a female in an aggressive manner. In a wrestling match isn't a physical manner aggressively. You're trying to go out there and dominate that person. I think that's what's against his religion. I don't think he was worried about hurting her. I don't think there's ever been a kid that's worried about hurting her. I mean, she's deviated her septum. She's had to wear a mask for her nose. She's bloodied her lips. She's sprained her elbow. And nobody's ever once felt bad of her. And that's not. She doesn't want that. I don't feel bad for her when she gets off the mat and she's hurt. It's part of wrestling. That's just. It's a dominant sport, and you go out there with your best. And if you can't beat that person's best, it's over with. I don't think that's what there's. I think it's just their belief as far as laying hands on women aggressively, being in a combat sport, and it's just against what they believe.
When she took it up, were you like, holy cow, I'm not sure I want this for my daughter?
She's always been my son. She always has been. She's always been my tomboy. She's been the one that was outside running around barefoot, cutting her feet up and busting stuff up. And she broke her collarbone, didn't know it. I mean, she's just always been that way. And when it came down to it, I used to tease her about wrestling. It wasn't until her grandma said, why don't you wrestle? And it was like, well, if my grandma thinks I can wrestle, I think I will. And we signed her up that next year.
Should the girls and boys be separated in state wrestling, or is that something that,
I feel like we should be together. Like, you made the choice to go out for wrestling, so you should do like what everyone else is doing and just go together with it.
But it wouldn't be a bad thing if
Yeah, it'd be. I think it'd be a lot more. Yeah, I think it'd be a lot more fun if like, and it'd be more exciting to watch like girl wrestle girl, and like that way you can see more of like strength, like together and stuff.
do you think more girls would go out for the sport if that was the case?
Yeah, I think so. I feel like I made an impact, and like it's not like the fact that I'm out, it's just like I made it here, so I'm excited about it.
You'd like to continue to win.
Yeah.
Next year?
I feel like I'm gonna make it here and make it further in the state tournament than just like 3 matches or 3 rounds, so I feel like I'll do better next year knowing what I needed to work on.
Do you think you made an impact for girls?
Yeah.